Hello, everybody. We are live on YouTube. We're very excited to start our webinar very shortly. Good afternoon, everybody. Career guidance can be defined as a comprehensive developmental program designed to assist you in making and implementing informed educational and occupational choices. So it's really complex what I've just said, but in simple words, it's a journey on which you develop to mature and informed decisions. Welcome to the Learn a Lot Career Guidance webinar, and thank you for joining us. My name is Sean Swartz. I'm the CEO of learnalot.com. Learn-a-Lot is a world-class online learning company, and today we're very privileged to have Tish Bateman with us. Tish's goal is to assist you to unlock your potential and to become the heroes of your own lives. We are live on YouTube and have made the comments facility available for you to post your questions. So please feel free to type your questions in the comments facility. We will be monitoring these questions and we will try our best to ensure that we answer all your questions. We will be taking all questions at the end of our presentations. We have so much to get through today. So let's get going. First and foremost, there are many parts to career guidance, and we are going to be covering many of them during the webinar today. The first thing I want to do is to talk about what is known as an interest profiler. So an interest profiler can help you find out what your interests are and how they relate to the world of work. You can find out what you like to do. The interest profiler helps you decide what types of careers you might be interested in and want to explore. When doing an interest profiler, please remember that you should try not to think about if you have enough education or training to do the work, or how much money you would be making if you did the work. Simply just think about if you would like or dislike to do the work that the questions are asking you. There are never any right or wrong answers. It's only what you feel is right for you. You're simply learning about your interests so that you can explore what you might like to find, which is rewarding to you. If you have not ever done an interest profiler test, we highly recommend that you do one. We have partnered with a company called Assessment World for the profiling tests, and they provide a quality psychometric test. You can do this interest profiler test through us, and you can immediately receive a summary report. And the best part with a summary report and doing this test is that it is absolutely free. If, however, you feel that you want more details and you want to access the full report, there is a small fee of 480 Rand to purchase the detailed report, but there is no need to do that if you're happy with just receiving the summary report. The second thing I want to talk about this morning, or this afternoon, in fact, is your dreams and aspirations. Now, Dreamcatcher is what I want to talk to you about. It's a unique program to learn all about the core of what motivates you to find a direction in your lives. Dreamcatcher will help you discover your purpose in life and then how you can translate that to an educational program and a career pathway for yourself. Right, what I would like to do is to play a short video for you to show you what makes Dreamcatcher so effective.
Deep within our students is a sense of purpose, a dream for a better life. It may be just a hint of a feeling, but it's there. It's the feeling and thought that there has to be more to life than the daily grind. Too often, adult ed students find themselves in survival mode, where the only thing they can focus on is their basic needs. But this does not mean that our students don't have a dream. Nor does it mean that with the right tools and attitude, they cannot fulfill their purpose and dreams in life. This is why they come to adult education, to make their dreams happen. Dreamcatcher is an amazing new program to help adult students discover their dreams and the path to make them come true. It's based on a 5-step approach to a personal career plan. We call it the MAP, spelled M-A-P-P-E. That's mental mindset, asking yourself the right questions, purpose, plan of action, and execution. In the first step, mental mindset, the student examines their own self-image and how their mindset can help or hinder moving forward toward a career. Then, they can ask questions that illuminate their interests, skills, personality, and strength. Based on these findings, students then explore careers, gathering data about available jobs, salaries, training, and work conditions. Once the student has determined a career goal, a purpose, their next step is to make a plan of action. The plan defines the specific steps and a timeline to get from their starting place to their ultimate destination. The last step is execution, the skills and motivation to move forward with their plan. Dreamcatcher is a perfect tool for the intake process when it's critical for adult ed students to define their career pathways and plan out their education. And just as important, Dreamcatcher can be easily integrated into academic and career pathway programs so that the student can seamlessly connect their education progress to their goals and purpose. Add Dreamcatcher to your program and help your students find their dream and the tools and motivation to make it happen.
Wow. I can say I've personally done the Dreamcatcher course. It's really an incredible course. And as you can see from the video, Dreamcatcher is a perfect tool to help you define your career pathway and to plan out your education. There are 4 main steps that the Dreamcatcher course teaches you. Step number 1, to set your correct mental mindset. Step number 2, to do your personal assessment. Step number 3, to explore career opportunities. And step number 4, to create, set up, and action your own personal plan. It's an incredible course, and we will be providing more information on it in an email that we send to you after this webinar. I'm sure you've all been waiting to hear from our guest speaker, Tish Bateman. She has a master's degree in education, dramatic arts, and gender studies. She specializes in helping adolescents construct their own narratives in order to achieve a sense of personal agency in their decision-making. She applies drama therapy techniques and methodologies in her coaching processes, and also believes in the power of stories to promote healing and positive living. It is her goal to assist adolescents to unlock their potential and to become the heroes of their own lives. Tish, Thank you so much for agreeing to share your knowledge and expertise with us. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Sean. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. It's really a lovely place to meet and connect. I'm going to share my screen with you. Right, so as Sean so eloquently introduced me, I'm Tish Bateman. I started my own education center with the aim to expand the way that I teach and expand my educational reach to help adolescents make informed choices, but also to live their life paths in a way that they feel they are meant to, so that they can have peace and balance and harmony in their lives. All right, so in this presentation, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about myself. Sean covered a lot, so that won't take too long. And then I'm going to talk about what makes our career counseling course different and why I believe in our career counseling course. I'm going to tell you about the instruments we use in our product and how it works. So I'm an educationist, counselor, and drama practitioner. As Sean said, I finished my master's degree in education. I also did my higher certificate in counseling, and I specialize in working with adolescents. For the past 12 years, I've been working in the traditional teaching system in South Africa, which has been rewarding, but I've also realized some of its limitations. So my goal is to try and fill those gaps and to make bridges for people who need them. I've also, through the past 12 years, done corporate training, voice coaching, public speaking and presentation skills, and various other things. But today I want to talk to you about my career counseling package. I want to talk about how I apply drama therapy techniques in my coaching processes. And as Sean said, I truly believe in the power of stories. We are all living our own story every day. And every time we interact with the world and the people around us, we influence each other's stories. And it's important to me to help people, especially adolescents, to have personal agency in the way that they construct their own life narratives. So when you do a traditional psychometric test evaluation, those tests are based on aptitude and abilities. And it's a really good tool to know what you are capable of and what your potential is. Sometimes, though, it becomes a little bit problematic if you are good at everything you do, because there are a lot of people out there who are. And then the answers that those tests give you is, you can do anything you want. But if you are looking to find your specific purpose and to find the career that suits you as a person, that sometimes you need a little bit more. So our counseling package, it focuses on self-knowledge and then making informed and empowered choices. So firstly, it focuses on getting to know your interests and your work values, and then your thinking preferences, and then your personality type. And I'll talk about those a little bit later in this presentation. And then the second part is we explore different career options that would help you to be your best self. About our product, the career counseling product is geared to find the career that is the perfect fit for you. I partner with Neethling Brain Instruments, My Best Gap Year, and Brainwave, and I'll talk a bit more about them. Our first product that I want to talk about is the Neethling Brain Profile. So Kobus Neethling founded Neethling Brain Instruments, and this instrument is an assessment that looks at what is your thinking preference. How does your brain work? How do you prefer to make choices? Are you a left brain person or a right brain person? And it's not only applicable in making the right career choice, it's an instrument that can be applied to study methods, to how you interact with people. It can improve your relationships. It's been translated into 39 languages and it is used globally. And for this instrument, I partner with My Best Gap Year. For the Discover Your Career online course, which comprises the longest and biggest part of our online assessment section of our counseling process, we partner with Brainwave. They're a company who focuses on advising, educating, and motivating. And the Discover Your Career Workbook is just an amazing tool to go through a process that helps you to find your career. Firstly, in the Discover Your Career program, a lot of people ask these questions. What are my work values? What's the difference between a career area, a career field, and a specific job? What working environment would suit me best? How will I find a career that best matches my personality or my thinking style? A lot of students in school struggle with what subjects to choose in grade 9 before going to grade 10. It's a big decision that students are faced with in a world where they are bombarded with information and career options. It's a lot of pressure for a grade 9 student to try and choose the right subjects for a career that they need to follow after high school, which feels a very long way away. And this program can help them get some clarity. And then another question is, where am I best suited in with regards to the world of work? And what should I study after grade 12? The Discover Your Career program can help you find the answers to these questions. So the Discover Your Career program is based on, firstly, your interests and work values. It takes you through a process of on an online workbook that helps you just clarify what are you interested in and not interested in, and what are your work values. And that's a really important aspect for me personally as well, because work values can determine the level of happiness and satisfaction you will have in your career and your job. The second part of the Discover Your Career program focuses on your personality type, what kind of person you are. It is possible to follow a career that doesn't suit your personality, but people who have done this will tell you that it makes you tired, it drains your energy, and it's very difficult to stay motivated. The same is true for your thinking style. It is better to choose a career field that suits your thinking style so that you can be energized when you get up to go to work in the morning, instead of having to work against your thinking preferences in your daily job. It looks at the world of work, different career fields, different career options, and which one will suit you best. For school students, it helps you to choose the right subjects. And for people who are finished with school and want to go into the world of work, it helps with study options and work options. Then what makes our career counseling stand out is that we do a live feedback coaching and counseling session where we help you to interpret the results of your NBI profile, where we help you to interpret and excavate the results of your Discover Your Career workbook. And throughout, we also provide coaching and counseling to ensure clarity and emotional well-being, to make sure that you don't feel overwhelmed by the process, so that by the end of it, you've got peace of mind and you can take your next step with confidence. So how it works is the process is broken up into 2 sessions. The first session is a short meet and greet where we explain what's going to happen and how to do the online assessments. Then the NBI online assessment, and then the online Discover Your Career workbook. So in session 1, the student will do the NBI and the Discover Your Career by themselves and work through. And session 2 is booked a day or 2 after that, after we've processed the results. And that is where the magic happens, because that is where we do a live feedback session via Zoom or Meets or whatever platform works best. And we really talk about and discuss the results and make sure that going forward that students have an opportunity to have a sounding board, to ask questions and to just be clear before taking their next step in life. It has sometimes been necessary for additional coaching sessions to be arranged, and it becomes a process, and that is, of course, possible. Thank you very much. That's all from me. Back to Sean.
Well, thanks, Tish.
Thank you.
That was really very interesting. I think that I'm sure that everyone has really benefited from the knowledge and your expertise. And after this webinar, we will also be sending out information on how you can contact Tish and book a career counseling package should you wish. Now, after you've decided what you want to do in life, and after you've done the studying that you needed to do in order to get that dream job, you actually have to find that dream job. And so how do you actually find that dream job? And so we have a solution to that as well for you. I'm sure there are many of you out there that are already ready to find your dream job. And so in our Work Essentials online course that we have, you can learn exactly how to find and keep your dream job. In the course, you'll actually learn the following. The first thing you'll learn is how to search, network, and apply for the job. You'll also learn how to write an amazing CV, as well as how to make a great impression when you are in the interview. So you'll literally be learning all the interview skills that you need. Over and above that, you'll also be learning what to say in your interview and what not to say. And at the same time, you'll also, once you do have the job, gain the skills to learn how to overcome colleague conflict and also how to communicate with others in the workplace. So it's an incredible course to give you the confidence to find your dream job. Now, I would like to ask Lindsay to please, if she has any questions, to please pose them to either Tish or myself.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Sean. So firstly, I just want to reiterate that we will be sending a recording out of this webinar tomorrow. So for anyone who hasn't been able to make the webinar and you know that they want to, please reassure them that we will be sending the recording out. We've got our first question we've got really is, what is the difference between the interest profiler and actual career counseling? I think, Sean, do you want to talk on the interest profiler part, and then Tish can maybe talk on the career counseling, and then we can see the difference. Just a very short summary.
Sure. So the interest profiler is essentially a set of about 140 or 150 questions. Those questions try to identify what your interests are and really rank them in terms of the answers that you've given, and we'll try and show you what pathways are probably best for you to consider versus a full counseling session that I think Tish can elaborate on.
All right, so career counseling, yes, it comprises interests, but the way we do the way we discover interest is a little bit different. It's not a formal test. It's a discussion, it's part of the worksheets. And then, of course, the counseling process is an individual process where we will set up meetings and you can speak to a coach or a counselor that can help you with your specific interests, your specific values, your specific personality type. And just it's a personalized, streamlined process that focuses on the individual and the life path of the individual.
So really the career counseling really goes into a lot more detail and a more personalized look versus your overall interest profile. That's great. And then from Corona, it says, my question is that I've been feeling burnt out with my current course and I've thought of choosing something else. I'm 22 now and I don't know if I should quit and change my course or not. Tish, do you want to?
Wow, that's a difficult place to be. I think if we have doubts for reasons, and if you feel that you're not in the right place, it's worth it to explore your different options. Your worst case scenario is you might go through a counseling process, or you might do an interest profile test, and you might end up just where you are, or you might end up finding that thing that makes you excited to get up in the morning.
Yeah, definitely. So quite a tricky one from Joel. I want to do neurosurgery after school. Which subjects should I choose after this year? I'm in grade 9.
Wow, neurosurgery, that is going into the medical field. It's worth it to explore the different universities' entrance requirements, and also to make sure that you will have the marks that you need, especially in mathematics, to get into the medical industry. It's a tough one to get into. So what I would do if I were in your shoes is I would actually contact universities that you are interested in going to and finding out what their requirements are for studying towards that field.
I think just to add to that, I would not only contact the universities, but actually the medical departments at the universities, and also speak to your doctor. Speak to a friend if you know of a friend that's a doctor. Ask them all about it. Find out which subjects are most important. It could be that there's one particular subject, whether it be biology or science, that if you do not take and you do not get an excellent mark in it, that you will actually have no chance of getting into the university. And I think very, very important for medical as well is not only your matric results. A very big part of entrance requirements into universities these days, not only for medical field, but for a lot of the other fields, is your NBTs. And so you've got to be very conscious of the fact that your NBTs can count just as much, if not more, than your matric results. So don't ignore your NBTs. Focus on them as well and make sure you do very well on them.
Sean, do you want to, just for anyone who doesn't know, explain what an NBT is?
Yes, so I'm sure you've all watched American sitcoms where the kids in high school say they're going to sit and they're going to do their SATs and they're going to get their marks, and they all compare, how well did I do in my SATs, what is my mark? And so we actually have the same thing in South Africa called the NBTs. That stands for the National Benchmark Test, and it's mainly aimed at English and maths, and it ensures that there's standardized testing throughout the country to ensure that the correct level is being achieved, not only in matric, but also at a high level through the NBTs. Very, very important. Please don't ignore it.
Perfect. And then someone's asked, if I get into a field of work that I initially preferred in high school, but after some years in the career field or job, I found out that I do not enjoy it, or I fail to stay motivated. And then there was a follow-up question from the same person, is how do I stay motivated in the job?
Okay, I can take the question.
Okay.
All right, is that two separate questions, Lindsay? I just want to double check. Okay, so the first one is, if you entered a career field and you realize a few years in that you're unhappy, maybe you were happy, but you're not happy now. My personal take on it is it's never too late to make a change. And I'm going to follow that up with a little story. Most of us are familiar with the Harry Potter movies and with an actor called Alan Rickman, who played Professor Snape, who only started his acting career when he was 42 years old. That is when he realized this is what he's meant to do. And at 42 years old, he started a new career from scratch and ended up playing in Harry Potter. So there are a lot of people who make career changes, even quite late in life. And we live in a world where it's not that frowned upon anymore to change your career path and to study something else and to bridge that gap. And for the second part, how to stay motivated, that part is a little bit more difficult because it really depends on if you are in the right field. Like I said in my presentation, if you are in a field that goes against your thinking preferences, against your interests, against your personality type, it will drain you on a daily basis and you will feel demotivated and tired. And there are ways to motivate yourself through lifestyle changes, but my advice would be find the right career field.
Okay.
And I think just to add to that as well is if you do identify that you're not happy in the job that you're in and you need to find a new career path, it doesn't mean that it's out of bounds for you. You don't have to quit your job and go and study again full time to change your career. It obviously depends what it is, but there are many excellent online universities, both in South Africa and around the world. And there's nothing stopping you from studying at an American or an English university at night. Everything's online these days. You can work during the day and study at night. And once you have graduated, then you can start looking at switching. So don't think that just because you've studied electrical engineering and you're hating it now means that you can't do anything else. You can always study online and change your career at any point in time. I mean, 40 is the new 30, so there's no reason why you can't change your career at any age.
Thanks, Sean. And then another question from Anish is, can you help students that only completed grade 10 and can't go on to complete matric?
Well, I think there are multiple options available to students, especially the older students that don't have a matric, that may need a matric in order to study further. There are online options that are available. There's an American option called the GED, where you can get an American diploma, which is very similar to a South African matric. You can also do Cambridge exams and do your RGCSE and your AS level exams to get the equivalent of a matric. Just because you missed out on going to school and doing your grade 12 doesn't mean that you can't get it. You can get the equivalent, whether it's GED or whether it's RGCSE and AS levels. And then from there, go on to study at university or college or get a better job, because often you hit a glass ceiling if you don't have a matric and the requirement in the company states for whatever silly reason that you have to have a matric, even though you are probably more than qualified to be able to do the job. You can't get it because you don't have the matric. The GED or something else is definitely an option that many thousands of students in South Africa already do.
And then Elaine asks will I be able to do my studies online instead of going to college? I think you've covered this before, is that there's a lot of online colleges and a lot of online options to study, whether you want to study online locally or you want to study through online international universities and colleges. The options are endless nowadays.
And I think just to add to that, it doesn't have to be a degree. There are short courses. There are many short courses to upskill yourself that you can do. And many of them are actually even free. There are so many really good courses. I mean, ourselves on learnalot.com, if you go to the learnalot.com website, you will see courses from all different universities. Many of them, if not most of them, are actually short courses. And there are short courses in anything you can dream of. Data science is a huge thing these days. Data analytics with artificial intelligence and all of that. It's a massive industry, and there's no reason why you can't just bolt on some additional short courses to your education. You can include them in your CV, and the cost of them is minimal.
Yeah, thanks. And then Chantal asks, I've done some research into colleges as well as universities. However, is there any other suggestions for a student that's interested in the law industry? Tish?
I'll have to get back to her on that one. I think it really depends on which area of law you want to go into, because some of them have lesser requirements than others. So it would depend on the individual's preferences and also on where to study. College, universities, that would be a different process, I think.
I think there's also different levels of legal. For example, you could do a paralegal course. You're not becoming a lawyer, but if you're doing a paralegal course, you can get into the legal industry. And a paralegal course is a much shorter course, and it's available at multiple colleges and universities as a higher certificate or a diploma. So you can look into a place, even for example, like Boston City campus. You can probably easily do a paralegal course through them. You can do it with Boston these days. Everything is online as well. So through COVID, you could literally start now and do your whole course online.
So Isaac's asking, he's definitely a busy gentleman. I have a law enforcement degree and I'm currently doing my honors in it, as well as I'm doing a higher certificate in accounting science with Boston. And I work at an accounting office. Please help with structure.
Wow. That sounds like a person who will definitely need, firstly, time management and goal setting. And secondly, if you've got so much on your plate, it's one thing to manage your time and to know that you've allocated the right amount of time in the right priorities to the right things. But also in terms of lifestyle, you'll need to be energized personally to do it. And there one would have to, well, I would want to look at what is your lifestyle? Are you making healthy choices? Because by changing certain elements of one's lifestyle, you could actually double the amount of energy you have available. So that would also depends on Isaac's individual needs and lifestyle.
That's very interesting, actually. And then DD Cairns asks, if you have studied for courses in different fields, for example, a diploma in business management and then a BCom in accounting, would this look bad to employers?
I can't see why not. I think the more that you've studied and the more skills that you have, I think the better it looks for potential employers when they're looking for positions and they can see more skills that you have versus somebody else. I think it's a great thing to have additional skills. That's also why I mentioned doing short courses, because you can grow your CV with a range of different short courses. And short courses, I'm not talking about from the college around the corner. You can literally do short courses from the best universities, Ivy League universities in the world, including Harvard and Yale and all those others. And for a fraction of the price of going to a university to do a degree, you can get top quality, the best quality education in the world. And you can get certificates from those universities, which you can add to your CV.
Yeah. And I think business management is a fantastic complement to a BCom in accounting. It would really add value. Sophie is asking, is it a great decision to study technology-related fields, such as programming, since a lot of things are being replaced or function because of technology?
So I think you've answered your own question there. If you do enjoy technology, and especially programming, everything is going technology. COVID has forced us 5 to 10 years into the future, literally overnight. And no matter what industry you're in, there is always a requirement for technology, specifically for programming. And so if you do enjoy technology, you're going to be sorted. It's an unbelievable career path to follow. And there again, there are so many short courses that you can add on, and you've got to keep adding on, because if you have a degree in programming from 5 years ago, it's completely meaningless these days. Things change by the minute in the technology field, and you have to keep up with things. So you've got to keep studying all the time.
Mm-hmm. And then Peter's asking, are the questions for the interest profiling and the career counselling available in Afrikaans?
That's a great question. We'd have to find out about that. Maybe if you can just type in your email address into the comments facility, we can take your email address and contact you with the answer. Currently, the way it's set up is it's only in English, but there may be an Afrikaans version that we just don't have access to.
Can I comment on that, Lindsay?
Yes, please do.
For the career counselling, the instruments are in English, the brain profile, the Discover Your Career course, but it's possible to do the online feedback session in Afrikaans. Zodat as iets moeilik is, kan 'n mens dit in Afrikaans vir jou verduidelik.
Oh, great.
Okay, so another question is, I'm currently studying BCom in marketing and management, and I have an interest in sports. How would you advise aligning my interest with my course and bridge the gap? I think I can even answer that one.
Yes.
So I know like UJ, they do sports marketing. Sports and marketing is actually a great combination, and it's growing a lot with your agents, your a lot of the big banks have marketing managers that focus on their sponsorship in sports. So you can definitely align your interest of sports with your marketing, because it's definitely, companies have realized the benefits of marketing to sports spectators, so you can really merge the two there. Another question is it important to study for a degree or certificate or go straight into the workplace?
I think that depends entirely on what you want to do. In certain career fields, a person who isn't strong academically and who doesn't enjoy studying, there are many career fields that doesn't require high academic rigor, but certain other career fields need study. For example, if you want to become a doctor, you will definitely need to go and study a lot for a long time. But there are definitely career fields and jobs that doesn't require studying. So it really depends on what you want to do.
Yeah.
I think just to add to that as well, these days, I know in school, it's changing very quickly, and that is to start focusing on critical thinking skills versus just parrot learning. It's very, very important to learn about critical thinking skills and to learn how to apply them in your life, no matter whether you go directly into a job or if you're going to be studying. Critical thinking is incredibly important, so please, you need to focus on that as well. It's very important. You need to know how to think. These days, there's no need to remember dates and historical events and all that. Google can tell you that straight away. But to be able to think, that is what companies are looking for. They're looking for critical thinkers. And so please focus on it.
Okay, so James is asking, I'd like to go into theoretical physics. If I said that wrong, do you have any recommendations, and what universities in South Africa are recommended for following this career path?
Wow, I would actually start from scratch with research if I were in that person's shoes. You'll need to contact the universities that you want to go to first. And I mean, a Google search can also tell you which universities are stronger in certain fields and subjects. But I would definitely go and look at a few options and actually tackle the universities individually.
Yeah. And then another question is, with regards to what Sean said about studying at night while working, what is the ideal amount of time to put into studies in this manner, and how does one find time management for other areas of life?
Good question. Do you want to take it, Sean? Can I take it?
Tish, take it, please. That's your field. All
right. I'm going to reiterate in one of the previous questions that I answered. Firstly, that is a really big thing to do, to work and study. It's challenging, but it can be done. And I want to just reiterate that if you align your lifestyle in a balanced way, in a way that you have harmony and peace in terms of all aspects of life, that is possible, but it might require giving up certain things for a while in order to make time for the studies.
Yeah, definitely. And then And as you asked earlier, he said, thanks. The question is for my 18-year-old son who didn't make grade 11, but will most likely not go on to finish matric, but choose other courses. Would you be able to assist him with this, Tish?
Yes, I absolutely would be able to assist. Yes, definitely.
Perfect. So what we'll do is when we send out the link, we'll include details on how to register for the career counselling course through Tish. Someone else has asked, is it true that if you're doing an online or homeschool, you cannot get into all possible universities? I think I'll take that. And it really depends what you're studying, which curriculum you're studying, and what you want to do with it. Some curriculums, you can't go directly to university and apply for a degree, but there are other routes you can follow to end up that way. You can first look at doing a higher certificate and then building up to the degree. It really depends on the curriculum you're doing. Tegan's asked, I've done a personality test before to see what job would be suitable for me, and my results gave me the recommendations to do something with management. I have no interest in this. What can I do?
Well, the obvious answer would be to find out what your interests are and to find a career that suits them, whether you follow a detailed career counseling process or whether you do an interest profiling test. But you'll definitely have to align your career choice with what you're interested in, because it's one thing to be good at something, but as I said earlier, if you do something that you are good at, but you're not interested in it, it can become quite draining after a while.
Yeah.
And I think just on the interest profiling portion, the beauty of it is that you can do it right now, as soon as this webinar ends, and there's no charge to doing it. So there's no harm in doing it at all. It will obviously only give you the summary, but if you find that the summary is of use to you, you may want to purchase the detailed report. But do it anyway. It can't. It can't hurt to do it. It can definitely. It could potentially help in the long run.
Yeah. And then we've got another question. What should I do when a parent wants me to go into a certain career field due to the money it could provide for me? Difficult one.
That is a very difficult one. I've worked with many students who are in that exact position, who are in conflict with what they want to do and what their parents want them to do. And my first advice would be to try and get into a mediated coaching or counseling space, because often the problem is in the way that interests are communicated between parent and the child. So if they can be, the first step for me would always be to find a mediator to facilitate a conversation around such an important decision and to take it from there. But it's very difficult to make the right choice, and you definitely need support as well.
It's more a statement as someone said, it seems most companies only want people with bachelor degrees. I don't see how short courses will help us compete with these people.
Well, I think a bachelor degree is obviously very, very important, and I'm not saying that short courses override a bachelor degree. However, if somebody is interviewing for a position and there are multiple people that all have the bachelor degree, but you also on top of that have improved your skills further with additional short courses, then you will definitely have the upper hand. And then obviously there are some and many job opportunities that do not require a bachelor's degree, and that's where short courses can come in very, very handy. And I'm not sure if you're aware of this, and it will start coming to South Africa soon, but huge conglomerates in America, such as Facebook, for example, don't require a bachelor's degree anymore. They are not interested in your bachelor's degree and the piece of paper that you have managed to get. They are interested in your skills and your skills only. And so what they end up doing is actually in your interviews, they give you tests and questions to do. Whether you've got a bachelor's degree or not, those questions are probably really difficult. And to prove yourself, you need to get those right. And so the big American corporates are starting to move away from the requirement of an undergrad degree for employment purposes and moving towards skills-based employment. And I'm sure in the future it will become a lot more important as well.
Christos is saying, can I also have university recommendations in London for medicine? I think you'd need to go and research that. I don't think we really know universities well enough in London to really give recommendations. Marty's asking, what options are there for students who have an interest in history, in world history specifically?
That is an interesting question, and the field of humanities often have these elements where what can I do with what I'm interested in? But there are options because world history is continuously growing. We do not know everything about where we come from yet. So there are definite career opportunities for research and for case studies, especially if you want to combine it with something like anthropology and social studies.
Yeah. And then which career fields are the most stable, needing the least upskilling the whole time? Sure.
Wow. I mean, there's so many.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the person's interest and how far you want to be educated. If you are someone who dislikes studying and you actually just want to get a job, then I would say go into a skills-based career, where if you have that skill, you can continue using it.
And I think just to add to that, there's many TVET colleges out there that provide skills-based training, which you could look at.
Yeah. Okay, and then another question is it possible to change jobs for career advancement or to stay at a certain job because of its benefits, but it has no room for growth in the company? I think it comes down to your own personal preference, really.
Agreed.
Okay. Chad is asking, what job opportunities are there in the business world that do not revolve around accounting?
Well, I think it's going to be difficult to go into business and not at least have some working knowledge of basic accounting skills. But there are so many applications where you can outsource accounting services. So you don't need to study accounting to be able to own your own business. If I can think off the top of my head, one of the leading banks in our country has a free accounting application where it controls your bank statement and does your accounting for you. There are many tools and resources available for people who do not have accounting skills or who dislike doing accounting, but who still want to be business owners.
Yeah.
And I think just to add to that as well, is that many financial directors and CEOs of big companies have an accounting or a business management degree in the first place. And they use those skills that they have learned in the degree. They don't necessarily do the accounting books and the auditing and drawing up a balance sheet and a trial balance. But those skills are so important in any field. Just look at a simple example of a physiotherapist, even in the medical field. They are running their own little business. At the end of the day, even as a physiotherapist, they still need to understand the basics of accounting. And so no matter what degree or diploma, or no matter what you do in life, it's always worth having the basic accounting skills under your belt.
And then Aaron's asking, if you're doing homeschooling or online, could you possibly go and study veterinary medicine at a university? It also comes down to what curriculum you're studying in your homeschooling or online studies and the admission requirements for veterinary science at the various universities. I would say the best would be to contact the universities and ask them what the admission requirements are.
I'd just like to add to that. I think there's a major misconception between normal school and homeschooling. Just because you're homeschooling doesn't mean you're not doing the same curriculum that anybody else is doing. And so just because you're getting a matric or a Cambridge AS levels or a GED doesn't mean that you're not getting the same diploma that somebody else that's sitting at any other school where they're going to full time is getting. It's just as good, it's the same thing, and you can use that to apply to university.
And once you've completed it and got your certificates, they mean the same. And then Melanie's asking, what is the cost of the career development course? What we're going to be doing is tomorrow we'll send out the recording with links to all the courses. Otherwise, you can go look on learnalot.com.
I think what I could do, if you don't mind, Lindsay, on that, if I can just share my screen briefly just to show you. This is the Learn a Lot website. And if you browse down to where it says browse our online course portfolio, underneath there is an option called career guidance. If you click on that option, the 4 courses that we have spoken about today come about, and you can see the pricing of each of them. So simply go to learnalot.com, scroll further down, select career guidance, and you can see your courses and the costs involved, and you can click there and then to get more information or to even just purchase them.
Fantastic. So that seems to be the end of our questions.
Okay, excellent. And I think we're on time for our planned 1-hour webinar. So as you said, Lindsay, we will be sending out an email to everybody with all the website links that we've spoken about today, together with a recording of this webinar, should you want to go back and review anything or to send it on to anybody else that you think it may be of use to. And so, Tish, again, thank you so much for your presentation and for agreeing to be a guest on our webinar. Thank you to everybody for attending our webinar. I hope you've enjoyed it and learned something that can help you in your career. Have a great afternoon.
Awesome.